Being a dad is hard. It's high stakes. It takes a toll on our self-worth, mental health, and can be lonely. But why would we ever want to do something so important in isolation? Legacy Makers, a conversation for dads, is quite simply two normal dads having conversations about, you guessed it, being a dad. The highs, the lows, and the learnings along the way. We are four dads. We want to remedy the deficiency we see in community for dads, and we want to ruthlessly encourage dads on their journey to build lasting legacy for the faces they love the most.
All right, Eric, you and I are both, I feel like Mike Lynch. If we were keeping track of who gets the most mentions on this podcast, Mike Lynch may be number one.
Yeah. I agree.
You and I are both in separate groups with Mike around this topic of spiritual leadership. And what book is your group on?
We are, oh my gosh. Yes, I do.
I hope he listens to this.
No. It's like managing leadership anxiety.
Yeah,
maybe.
That's good.
I think
so
that's
our group
one.
is remedial. So we are still like 2 books behind everybody else.
Yeah.
We have not been that consistent. The very first book we read, there was a quote that has stuck with me. It's by a guy named John Gardner.
Right.
He says, I pity the leader, not Mr. T. I pity the fool, okay? I pity the leader caught between unloving critics and uncritical lovers. So what he's saying is, like, I feel sorry for people that on one end have just like negative people in their life, and obviously we don't want to be those people. But on the other end have what he calls uncritical lovers, like people that tell you what you want to hear and not what you need to hear.
Yep.
Okay, this podcast is all about encouraging dads, but if all we do is tell everybody, hey, keep going, you're crushing it, I don't know that that's... let me say it this way. I don't know that this is going to be our most fun episode, but I would challenge any dad. Like, I think this is an episode you need to hear because we are going to warn you of a danger that could potentially derail your entire life.
Yeah, no, listen, I think that you have to have people in your lives that are really like, they're mirror people that can hold up a mirror, and that's at your best, but also at your worst. Some people are really good at giving you feedback, critical feedback without any like constructive tone. And that's not fun either. But I think it's important to be able to sit down and have somebody, lean into you and say, look, man, I love you, but this is not working for you. And here's what I think. And that's tough. It's tough to give that feedback. Sometimes it's tough to receive it. But to your point, part of encouraging dads is not always like the rah, this is great. Like, you got to really like call out where there's blind spots or potential things that could derail legacy. Because the crazy thing, the hardest thing about building a legacy that lasts is you can have the best of intentions. You can show up consistently. And that's really hard to do day in and day out. And you're going to have missteps. But man, like one of these little missteps could be significant and really tarnish your legacy.
You remember the it's like overused now, but the Warren Buffett quote about like, you can spend 20 years building your reputation and destroy it in 5 minutes.
So true.
And I think that's true. And here's the principle in this area. We're not just talking about things that you do as a dad. Like this is the big, like if there is like flashing lights and a warning sign for dads, it's, you could be the best dad in the world, but you may be doing something outside of your role as a dad that completely takes your life off track, and it destroys your relationship with your kids, your influence as a dad.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so I was at a funeral a few weeks ago for a guy at our church. He was in his 90s, like served in the military, just like stud of a guy. And they used this proverb that has just stuck with me. Proverbs 20, verse 7. And it says this, it says, the just man, or some versions say like the righteous man or the good man, walks in his integrity, and his children are blessed after him. So like if you do what you're supposed to do, if you live with integrity, it affects your children. It's a generational blessing. Now, I caution people, this is a principle more than a promise. Yeah. Meaning it's generally true. That doesn't mean like we could probably find examples of dads who've done the right thing and their kids have still gone off the rails. So
absolutely.
But more times than not, if you'll do the right things, your kids end up benefiting from that. So the opposite, if that's true, I think the opposite is also true. So let's go like Kevin and Eric proverb, which is probably worth a whole lot less. So let's say like the man or the father does not walk in his integrity, then his children like have a negative experience after it. Have you seen that? Like, I'm guessing that you, like me, have interacted with people that have gaps in their life because they're still carrying issues or trauma from childhood things.
Yeah, it's like most of our podcasts, we kind of have a quick conversation before, and we're just reacting to this. We don't have necessarily a whole bunch of things scripted. So as you shared that proverb, like the vision that I had was for, I don't know again why, but I'm thinking about like a cornfield that is completely like top to bottom, like 6 feet corn husks, and a dad is walking straight and his kids are behind, and the dad is walking straight, and it's probably not the easiest walk, but the kids behind them are experiencing an easy walk because he's clearing the path.
That's good.
And that doesn't mean that your children can't go left or right into a harder path in the field. They can still do that. There's no guarantee that they're going to follow you, but the path is easier and they're going to be drawn to that path because I can just continue to follow my dad, and that's an easier walk. And that's what went into my head as you shared that. To your point, there's no perfect dad. I think that my children, I'm sure when they get older and reflect back on their childhood, are going to have things that they say, hey, he didn't get that right. That's just normal. But I think to your point, there are certainly situations where that burden is a lot heavier when the dad really, really didn't get it right, or it wasn't intentional, and just kind of showed up as they showed up and let the drama of the day and the frustrations of the day and the challenges of life just bleed over into the family, and didn't have a plan to really impact the family. Yeah. And I see that. I certainly see, I have conversations with guys that had really tough childhoods. And a lot of the commonalities when you have that conversation is maybe dad wasn't there, or dad didn't show up the way they needed to. So I think looking at statistics of people that are incarcerated, I think it's something like nearly 90% of people that are incarcerated today in the United States didn't have a father in the home. Like that, you just can't deny some of these statistics or the impact that a dad makes.
Yeah. And I think for this conversation, there are decisions you make inside your home, but there are decisions that you make outside. I don't think most of the dads we talk to, like, if you're listening to this episode, if you're tuned to this podcast, you're probably trying to be a great dad.
Yes. But
you could do something that screws up your marriage that affects your ability to be a great dad. I know that's not comfortable, but that's just the reality.
That's the reality of it.
You could do something, some of these things are out of your control, but you could make a decision at work that gets you fired, that puts you in a financial position that hinders your ability as a dad. You could have a substance abuse problem. Like, nobody wants to hear this, but just because you want to be a great dad, you've still got to focus on the things outside of being dad, or it can derail your life. So I would love for us to think about what are some of those areas unrelated to being a dad that can affect our ability to be a dad.
Yeah.
Does that make sense
at all? Let's do it. Yeah.
So let's talk about work first. I think you and we come back to this workplace conversation because it's important. But sometimes, like, I'd say I want to walk with integrity with my kids, but it could be easy to cut corners at work, to screw somebody else, to like do something that makes the way that I want my kids to behave, there's times in the workplace where I cannot model that.
Yeah, I think, to your point, I mean, start with just livelihood and supporting your family. There's little decisions, corners that could be cut that seem so insignificant, but could be a dramatic life change, right? And it's no different than talking to my kids now, especially my boys that are, just turned 12 and 9. And we talk a lot about choices. And I try to tie to them, like, I got it. You just are making a choice do I react to my frustration and hit my brother or call him a name? You might think that is small, but the more times you give in to the primal desire to hit or get angry, the easier it becomes the next time. And bad choices compound bad choices. Yeah. It's oftentimes at work, though. Like sometimes you can be in a situation, and I've seen it firsthand with people that are great people, and this does not change who they are, but maybe like a little bit of a fudge on an expense report or something that here or there that just seems like insignificant, but has turned around and caused people to be in bad standing at work or potentially even fired.
Yeah. Well, I think about this. I think about telling my kids, hey, you always should tell the truth.
Yeah.
And then what if they hear me on a phone call and I'm like, hey, sorry, I didn't get that in. I was traveling this week. And they're like, you weren't traveling this week. What that seeps into their mind is they pick up on an inconsistency and they're like, oh, truth is flexible, or
exactly.
I mean,
my ethics, are
dependent on
are situational, right? And that is, and you're spot on. And we've talked about the importance and pushed our listeners to think about caught versus taught. It is so much easier, especially for myself, to be a great communicator in the house and tell them all the things. And that's a key element to them learning. But the real unlock is like, I'm going to teach you, and then I'm just going to show you without me having to teach you. You're going to watch how I behave. And so to your point, if be honest, be honest, be honest, we don't lie, we don't lie, we don't lie. And then they overhear something like that. It's a disconnect that is hard for their little brains to understand.
Yeah.
And then they can decide, well, I need to be honest in this part of my life, but maybe not over here if it means that I can get out of trouble for something.
So one of the things you do that I admire a lot, and I think my kids are a little bit younger, and I want to be clear, not everybody has the same opportunity in this area, but I've seen a lot of intentionality in taking your kids, specifically your two older ones, to work every once in a while. So it's like you let them see that environment so that they also see like who you are in there. It doesn't have to be different than who you are.
Yeah, and I think you're right. Not everybody has that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there are opportunities for your children to see you in the different roles that you have in your life, right? We, try to go to church every week. Not oftentimes, but occasionally we'll have the kids come sit with us at church so they see what that looks like. What is that experience? Okay, we go to big church. What does that mean? Bring my kids to work. The girls, I tried to take them. They're just not at an age where it's great for me. And there's two of them. But when the boys come, like they're not just, when I'm doing work in my office, they have a iPad or something. They're doing something or they're coloring, whatever. But they go and sit in meetings. Like they sit in meetings and they sit there and it's a little awkward for them, but they introduce themselves and they sit and they observe and they don't have an iPad and they're playing, they're watching. And I've gotten multiple comments from people about how they behave and how they're just like so mature and showing up. But I don't do that because I'm like, I need to babysit them. I'm doing that intentionally so they can see how I show up in meetings. And, I have my one-on-ones when they're in and my team comes in and I'll have a one-on-one and I'm not performing. I'm being myself, but it's important for them, I think, to see dad is dad at home. Dad coaches me at basketball. He shows up at work. I want them to see a consistent view of me versus I show up because I want them to be themselves. I want them to be comfortable with who they are and the different elements. Camden is very involved in church. I want Cam to be, and he's great at school and he's well liked by teachers, but I don't want Cam to then go with his friend group and be like, well, I'm going to be this person with my friends. I'm going to be this person though at church because this is how I have to behave at church and this is how I have to behave at school. And no, like you're yourself. It's so important for them to see that.
Yeah, I think that's good. So there's a workplace thing. We've got to be the same there. We can't let them see this difference. I hate to tackle this because it's going to feel very preachy, but there is the potential to have addictions in our life that then affect, and we could think of a lot of those substance addiction things. I mean, it
could be addictions. It could be just maybe one short of addiction is a vice, right?
Yeah.
Addiction could be, like you said, substance abuse.
Yeah,
It could be pornography.
Yeah.
It could be a vice in terms of could be language. It could be a lot of things.
I see something now because it's so normalized, and this is not like a soapbox against this, but like gambling and then like the obsession with it. So is this right or wrong? Well, the question is when you're at home and now you're mentally disengaged from your kids because you keep checking this thing because you've got a parlay on 3. I mean, this is it affects things.
Think about like a rung on a ladder less than gambling, but fantasy football.
I mean, this.
Look, a few years ago, thankfully my league has calmed down a little bit because we're all like trying. I mean, we're just busy. I mean, look, it's been going since it's been like a 20+ year league. It used to be a lot more intense, but there were
a big draft.
We haven't. It's been. I mean, but it used to be, and I miss some of that. It's not. There's nothing wrong with fantasy football. There's nothing wrong with gambling, but like it can go to a line, and once that line is crossed, it's scary. I can remember fantasy football when my league was really like more competitive, and it would ruin my entire Sunday, and then it would bleed into my work, and like. How is that? What am I modeling?
You should come to the Addo office on a Monday after fantasy football results come in. It's a big deal.
But I do think those social media, our phones,
it all makes it
all of these things creep, and I'm guilty of that. That's probably the area for me is the seemingly small things, like on Instagram. Messing around on Chat GPT.
Yeah.
In the past, it would have been a fantasy football thing. These seemingly small, and honestly, there's nothing wrong with any of these. But if it's at the wrong time or at the wrong frequency in front of your children, and that continues, they're casting their perspective of you.
Yeah.
And it can really quickly turn into...
You can be doing everything right as a dad, but this thing over here... starts to seep in and affect it.
Really quick though, and you know when it will smack you upside the head. It's not going to be every time you do it. Your kids are not going to be like, there you are on your phone again. Yeah. What will happen is 3, 6, 9 months down the road, there will be a moment. Mm-hmm. And the moment will go something like this. Hey, son, I really am disappointed in X and Y, and you're not showing up the way you want. You're distracted by this, or you're not putting in the focus. And this is what will happen. Dad, you're always on your phone. You're always on your phone. So I don't know why you're upset with me. And they're not going to catch you like we do a puppy when they're having an accident. They will watch and observe, and they will form a perspective of who you are and what you're doing. And at some point down the line, they'll tell you. And at that point, it might be too late, or you're going to have more work to then show them another 9 months when that's to reshape the truth.
And so there's a consistency piece.
Yes.
That's key. Okay, so there's workplace, there's vices, addictions, and then here's a topic you and I hit a lot, but I think it's one we struggle with, is like this idea of being a people pleaser.
Yeah.
Like, are there times we do that outside of the relationship with our kids that then comes in and affects our relationship with our kids?
Absolutely. Absolutely it does, because you and I both are wired similarly. And if this is also how you're wired and you're listening, it's harder to prioritize. It's harder to put up boundaries. And every time you say yes to something outside of your family, it is the family that is impacted. And again, that's not bad. Like, I'm not saying your only focus should be your family at all times. We've talked many times about the importance of having priorities, passion points, being on purpose. Yeah. Through work, through community, whatever it might be. You need that to live a full life, a life of impact. You need other things, but you better realize what those other things are and be locked in as to the role they're playing and what they mean to you and why you're going after them. Because if not, you'll say yes to more and more things. And again, every breakfast you take that's not with your wife is a one less breakfast with them, or every breakfast or lunch date, or hey, I'm going to go meet this thing to go do these things because somebody needs me. One less moment you could be with your family. And so it's that like priority creep.
Yeah.
That you got to be careful.
And again, good things. Things that are totally disconnected from being a parent can derail the integrity you have as a parent. Okay, let's give some hope here, some tactical things. I had a few. One, I think owning your mistakes. When you used that phone example a minute ago, that resonated with me of it's not in the moment, it's 9 months later where the kid says, "You're always this."
Yes.
The worst thing, and let me tell you what my intention is to do, is to say, "No, I'm not." Like, I'm going to argue with my child to tell them that. But I think owning your mistakes is a key first step.
It's huge. It's big. And being able to realize that the feedback, like, especially if it's coming from your child, that is their lived experience with you. Mm-hmm. And so you telling them that they are wrong, they might agree with you because you're the dad. Okay, yes, Dad, you're right. But if it came out of their mouth, they're not doing it to be combative or to hurt you. That's in their mind. That's the experience. And so you need to own it, and you need to give them a different experience.
Yep. Okay. So own your mistakes, make the corrections to give them a different experience. I like that. I think having consistency between the two, this is a little bit of a teachy moment, but the word integrity comes from the root word integer. You loved math in school, maybe, probably more than me, at least.
No.
Integer is a whole number. Mm-hmm. Whole means it's consistent. It's the same. So if there is a huge difference between who you are as a dad and who you are everywhere else, that will eventually create a problem.
Yeah, and consistency can be really hard in the world we're living in, and our priorities that we have, and how busy everyone's lives are, and kids going in multiple directions and all the things. So a practical way to be consistent is calendar it.
Yep.
Like,
how do you do that practically?
I have to calendar it. I have to, because I'll forget.
So
like,
if we were looking
time
at your
goes so
phone right
fast.
now, what is a calendar block you have?
So I will have, the morning once a month with the boys are calendared. Now that the girls are in kindergarten, I'll start adding that to the mix.
Yep.
Brittany and I have a monthly brunch that's on the calendar that bounces around just because, but like, we'll set that like through the full year. So that's on the calendar. Like, those are the things that are on the calendar.
Okay.
But you just, whatever it looks like for you, even if it's something like, okay, I want to play catch with my son, throw it on your calendar until it becomes habit. But you need to visibly see it on your calendar, in my opinion, because things go so fast. Next thing you know, you're like, wait a second. Yeah, of course. I see. We do these things, these routines. You're like, what? That's been 3 months. Oh my gosh. Like, that will happen. So, a hack for consistency is truly just calendar it. Like, check it off the list, make it part of your routine.
I think that's good. I like this thought that integrity is invisible, but it leaves a visible legacy. Mm-hmm. Your integrity is not something you see, but those consistent moments, the things you do when nobody else is watching, are the things that will end up creating this visible impact in your kids.
Yeah, and I keep thinking about, like, okay, how do you then, if it's so important, which it is, how do you make sure that you're a man of integrity? What you can't do is say, "Hey, I'm a man of integrity." Like, because then if someone says that, you're like, "Okay."
It's like people say, like, "I'm very humble."
Correct. Yeah. Sure you are, buddy.
I'm the most humble person I know out of all the humble people.
Sure you are. But what you can do is figure out for you. All right, and this is, we've heard this said, but your kids are 25 or 30, and you're having a coffee with them. And you say to them, "Hey, like, what do you think of me? Like, tell me what comes to your mind. Like, what do you want them to say? What do you want them to say about their dad?" You're going to mess up. You're going to have issues, like, throughout the way, but, like, there's going to be themes that they say. What are those things? And it's going to be different. Some of it will be similar for all of us, but they're going to be different. You got to know that, like, what's the end look like, and then reverse engineer through experiences that you give them, and hold yourself accountable. Because if you just go through life and you're like, I have integrity, I'm going to make good choices, that's great. But you got to think about that moment, that powerful moment, because some of us will get to that moment if we're not careful, and the words that they say, or maybe they don't say, that's haunting to think about them having a different experience than what you had hoped for, because you're giving them that right now.
Yeah. I think in that environment, like, your integrity is not just for your image. It's for your children's inheritance. Like, we think about money as an inheritance, but really what they get passed down. And I really liked that. That was good.
I literally just made, I don't know if it's a good example or not.
That corn example really made the cornfield thing.
Yeah.
Like, the idea that you are paving a path that, if you do it the right way, will make your children's life easier.
Yeah.
And not easier, but like, you're providing a way that shows them how to walk. And so, just bringing back that idea, if we are people of integrity, the principle is that our children will be blessed after us.
Yes.
And even if we try to do all the great dad things, but we are not people of integrity, our children will inherit something we don't want them to inherit.
I think, yeah.
And so I think the reminder for dads is integrity matters. If you want to be a great dad, it's not just the things you do as a dad. It's the whole picture of your life.
Yes.
That makes a difference. Any closing
I
thoughts?
just close with this, and this is another kind of lightning rod word, this word privilege. And it has a lot of different connotations, and people hear that and they can take it any way they want.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to call my kids privileged, I hope that they say that they are dad privileged. Like, that's great. I want to strive to ensure that my kids have a more clear path to make the impact that God needs them to make. That's my job. I'm not handing them things. I'm not letting them start on third base, whatever the thing is. But yeah, they're going to be dad privileged. That's what they're going to be, because I'm going to try to pave the way for them. And I think that's what we should strive for all of our kids. Like, life is hard and we want our kids to make an impact. I'm not going to, like, because of me, they're not going to be like, get whatever they want in life, but I'm going to help them. So when it's time for them to make an impact, there's less barriers and obstacles in their way to go live out what they're supposed to live out.
I love it, man. That's good. I've never thought about that before, but if they're going to be privileged, I want them to be dad privileged.
Yep.
And we create that privilege through our integrity. I like it.
Good chat. We'll talk next time.
Thanks for listening to Legacy Makers with Kevin Scott and Eric Blumenthal. Make sure you download and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
This podcast is a production of BG Ad Group. All rights reserved.